Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shoot from the Hoop, where we discuss all things sporting clays and FITASC. My name's Jeff Jensen. I'm the host of the podcast, and one of my goals is to tell some background stories of some of the leaders in FITASC and sporting clays. And it's an honor and a privilege today to bring onto the podcast Mr. Tim Miles from Tucson, Arizona. Tim, welcome to Shoot from the Hoop.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate what you guys do. Bringing all the attention to shotgunning sports is a big deal, and we appreciate you guys doing that. And along with the other podcasts, I think everybody's doing a great job. Thank you.
There's some phenomenal podcasts out there. I was listening to Dead Pair the other day with Jason Rambo, and they're at like 250 episodes. They've done a great job over the years.
Awesome.
And then another one, Shotgun USA with Justin. I mean, they're phenomenal podcasts, but there's always room for more, Tim. That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely. There's not enough information out there. There's, I can give you some stats, but there's a lot of people that shoot shotguns.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to let you know I got my black shirt on, so we're on the same vibe.
That's good.
And I'm going to ask you questions that perhaps nobody's ever asked you on a podcast before, just to give us a little shift gears a little bit. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Sounds
all right. So my first question, Tim, is you've been shooting sporting clay specifically for about 33 years or so. What is it about sporting clays when somebody goes out and pulls the trigger? It doesn't matter if they've duck hunted or other things, but when they start shooting targets in the air or rolling on the ground, what is it that's so addictive about sporting clays, and then to another extent, FITASC?
So I can tell you deeply what it is, but I'll tell you the final outcome of why that is. And that is the spontaneous reaction that you get after you pull the trigger. In less than basically a second and a half, you get the result, and you get the result right now. And typically that result is better than an exploding golf ball, if you will. And so I would say that's the number one piece is you actually have a reaction to an action, if you will. And nobody did it except you. It's all by yourself. So it's individually based. And most things that are individually based, like say taking a test, when you don't know the answers and you're able to come up with the answers, you had to deep dig into that, if you will, that hard drive and pull out the information that's been stored there that you actually have seen and sometimes don't even know that's there, and the answer comes out. Well, that's the way shooting a shotgun is. It's you've prepped it, and when you look at something and you're able to actually, we are athletes. You're actually able to do something that's athletic, if you will, and you concentrate. You look at it, and it breaks. You're hooked, man. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. It literally is an addiction after you smoke the first target, and I have seen it for years. It's awesome.
Tim, do you think some of it is the improbability of the concept of shooting a little disc about 4 inches wide, bigger than that, but flying out there at 50 yards under, very fast, left to right, going away from you, looping through the air, rolling on the ground? I mean, the odds of hitting a target like that aren't easy, but we do it, right? And I think that might be part of it too.
Yeah, I think that is part of it. I mean, a lot of people are typically they're Sunday coaches, if you will. They're people that sit on the couch and they watch golf, or they watch baseball, or they watch football, they watch hockey, they watch these sports that other guys are playing, and they truly are eye-hand coordination animals. And let's face it, what you do shooting a shotgun, you do each and every day. There's every piece of your life is exactly like shooting a shotgun. You think about what you're going to do, and you do it. Kill spot. That's what a shotgun is. You shoot a shotgun by knowing what you're going to do, and then basically applying what you already know to that. It's pretty cool. And so I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think that is a element of it, and there's probably several that we can talk about. For me, I think the entertainment of just going out with the family to the range, whether it's with my son, with my daughters, and then I will tell you, from a gun club standpoint, If you get mom to the range, guess who comes?
Everybody else.
Everybody. That's a fact right there. And so at the end of the day, I think it's one of the very few family sports that you can do from the age of, say, 6, all the way up till, they put you in the box. I think you can do it every day of your life for sure.
There's a lot of truth to what you just said, because when my son Joe was in high school and early college, we used to travel all over the country and shoot. And my wife would just jump on board. Let's go. But now that he's off living his life, she's not jumping on the plane with me all the time. So you're right. There's a family component there.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. It's pretty cool.
So the other question I have for you, Tim, is to your point earlier, there's no reason why people completely out of their athletic prime, like you and me, right? I mean, we're not in our athletic prime anymore, but we can still perform at a reasonably high level in sporting clays. What are the components to that?
So I think it's like anything. I think we actually have a ability to plan. We have the ability to apply, and we have the ability to succeed. And so if you do those things in everyday life, which most of us do, you take and leave the negativity out of everything, right? And you basically do what you talk about, right? Because you are what you say, you are what you do, right? And you are what you think about. Caveat to that, good or bad. So whatever
Absolutely.
you think you are, period. So I would say the biggest reason is because most of us at our age are seasoned, right? We've seen a lot of things in our lifetimes. We've made mistakes. We don't like making mistakes. So I think we're going to do a pretty good job of planning at this point in our lives. And, we're not spinning all the time or, freaking out all the time. We're literally calm, cool, collected, and take in the information and apply whatever that is to an objective we already thought about. So I think it's pretty simple for guys like us to figure out the shortest and easy and most economical, not typically monetarily, but economically, physically, on how to be successful.
That's a great point, because to your point earlier about setting targets, also it has to be good targets. They need to be fair, but nothing happens till you call pull. So there's no surprises.
Nope, there is no surprises. And here's the thing. If you don't do your homework, if you will, whether that's before you get to the range or while you're watching, right? I have a grandson, his name's Miles, and Miles is great for the first, I would say, 8 to 10 stations, right? And then all of a sudden he just gets lost, right? Forgets where he is or whatever. And whatever that is, if it's a attention span deficiency, that could be, or he just isn't engaged anymore for whatever reason. But I think that's the biggest thing is you have to pay attention, do your work. Oh, the target's coming from there. I need to break it there, right? Pretty simple, right? But we don't always do it, and that's odd to me. It really is odd. But we all have the same disease. That's for sure.
That's well put. Well, the other strange thing about it is we're not doing it to make money. I mean, if you win an event, it's not like you and I are going to go home and pay the rent or anything. So there's no stress involved in terms of trying to put food on the table. Yet we put an immense amount of stress and pressure on ourselves to perform well. Probably too much. What do you think?
I'm probably the opposite of that. I don't think we put enough pressure on ourselves. That's my opinion. I think we should be obligated to our Maker, to Jesus Christ and God. They gave us these, if you will, abilities, right? These traits that we have, and to perform at our best for an audience of one, basically. So I think the PB, the personal best, is always top of the list. When you go out there and compete, you're not competing against anybody else except yourself. So I think that's, I don't think we put enough pressure on ourselves. That's my opinion. Now, what does that look like? Well, that doesn't look like where you beat yourself up or any of that, which you see guys get mad all the time. And forgive me, but I have some coaches and friends that basically look at a guy that's getting upset and says, dude, you're not good enough to get upset.
Exactly.
They go, what does that mean? Well, actually, no one is good enough that they can get mad, because there's no reason to get mad. It's a failure to perform, right? It's right there with, you know what sin is? Do you know what sin is? Okay.
Sure.
Do you know what it's actually described as in the Bible?
What is it described as?
Not to hit your mark.
There you go.
That's what sin is. Okay. So if you put everything at that basis, okay, you're not hitting your mark, right? You can't get upset about it, right? You can sit back, reflect, and go, okay, so what actually went wrong? Instead of getting all wound up, throwing a fit, throwing shells, being, as one of my coaches saying, showing your butt, right? We don't do that. Okay. So I don't think we put enough pressure on ourselves, Jeff. That's my opinion. Now, I think there is a fine line, and everyone's different. Some people can handle pressure, some people can't. Have no idea what the difference is. I always look at things that the bottom of everything, even the worst thing that can happen, is good. There's always good in every challenge. Every challenge is always good. So if you put your baseline at good, all you can do is get better, right?
I like that.
And that's what you should do.
I've got a little sidebar story. When I was living in Florida, I used to shoot with Brian Ducaney a lot, and he's an incredible shooter. And I noticed early on when we were shooting together that if you didn't look at the outcome of a broken target or a miss, he was the same when he came out of the stand. Whether he hit it, missed it, it was completely the same, totally in control, which is really what you got to be to optimize performance.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it shouldn't matter, right? You should take in the information, whatever it is, hit or miss, and you should digest it, put it in your target bank, and move on, because you need to be present for the next shot. You don't need to be holding on and thinking about what just happened, even though it should be a thought at some point, right? But I don't think you need to carry that with you everywhere you go, because then you're not at your premium performance.
Yeah, I used to coach a lot of baseball, and I'd have these young kids that were pitchers, and they were upset if they thought they threw a strike and the ump called the ball. And then I would say, "What's the most important pitch?" And I'd train them to say, "The next pitch. You got to let it go, man."
Yeah, you got to let it go.
Right. You got to let it go. Right. So, Tim, so there's some similarities with golf. A lot of golfers shoot sporting clays. A lot of guys that shoot sporting clays also shoot golf. Where I'm going with this is a very specific area. The top golfers, they've got different parts of their game, right? They've got short game, they got putting, they got driving, and they don't always have command of them at all times. There's some truth to that with sporting clays also, with different presentations, different targets. But where I was going with this is about coaching, and you've done a ton of coaching. It seems to me that the quickest way to go from point A to point B, wherever you want to go with your shooting, is to get some good instruction. It doesn't make sense to go out and just throw tons of lead in the air and ingrain bad habits, for example. So I think sporting clays in some ways is similar to golf. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I agree. I think the ROI is huge, right? And so you have to look at what that investment is. And so in order to get a good return on your investment, you need to be, if you will, diligent, right? You need to be committed, and you need to be disciplined. And by doing those things, you will soon recognize that the best way you can spend your time, not only your money, but let's talk about time. Best way you can spend your time is to get good instruction. For instance, if you're going to go out and, let's say, be a nuclear physicist, what are you going to do? You're just going to go do it? I don't think so. Okay. And so I think it's a comparable level to anything you do, is to go out and do your research. Now, information used to cost a lot. When I was growing up, you paid a lot for information, right? Because those guys held it close to their vest. Everybody held the information close. Well, guess what? It's the information pipeline now. You can find out anything anywhere you want. All of it may not be true, but you can at least find out the information. You can do your due diligence, and you can search and decide what you really think is good, what you think is successful, and then you can go out and try it and find out if it is. Okay. So why would you not spend, instead of spending, $1,000 on shells. Why don't you spend $500 on shells and $500 to get good information, right? I will tell you, it will save you 10 times that, other than trying to self-teach yourself. Now, I will say there are people that can self-teach themselves. There's no question, okay? And they are stubborn, tough individuals, and we have to have those people too. But if you're just getting into this game, it will pay you dividends in time and capital to get some good instruction. And who does that? There's a lot of instructors out there, and basic foundation is all the same, okay? It's technique after that. So I would say, I think you would be remorse not to get good construction.
So I can simplify it. You need to put the time in. You need teaching, tenacity. They'll take you a long ways, even with a little bit of talent, probably.
Absolutely, without doubt. Oh, we can get anybody to 80% with dedication, for sure.
So then that leads me to my next point. If you watch a video or something, it's like bowling. You can watch someone bowl and you can understand exactly how to do it, but knowing how to do it and doing it are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So having
we have guys all the time that can't seem to do have the same result we do, and we're not in there at the moment. And then all of a sudden, you figure out that people learn in three ways, and this is my opinion. People learn by watching, kinesthetic, right? They learn by writing it down, right? And they learn by saying it. And so if you take all those things together and then you apply, which is doing it, it's good. But I will tell you that more times than not, if you can demo as a coach, you'd be shocked what happens. I've watched it. If I've done it one time, I've seen it 1,000 times, where we'll demo and a guy absolutely could not perform prior to that demo, and then sat there and watched it. And it's not watching it one time, okay? There are those freaking natures. The guy can, oh yeah, I got that, right? But you need to be able to demo 2, 3, 4 times in a row, right? And the guy's looking at it and going, okay. And he actually gets his eyes on it, watches the target, watches the barrel, steps in, and guess what? He does it.
Like monkey see, monkey do. You just get that exactly vibe.
Right. That's the way God made you, right?
Right. Or you could say osmosis, or whatever your terminology might be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I could hear things 1,000 times, Tim, and it goes in one ear and out the other. If I watch it, because everybody learns differently, to your point.
That's right.
If I watch it and experience it, it's a different animal.
Yeah, 80% of the people learn kinesthetically. That's 80% of the people. That's the stat. So
very good. And then I promised myself I wouldn't ask you this, but for new shooters, there's a million different guns out there and loads, but I found that the semi-automatic works great for new shooters because it doesn't beat you up or kick you, and perfect fit isn't necessary always. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we typically start everybody with especially kids and things. We start them with an A300, which is an Outlander made by Beretta. It's a retail, probably $1,000 gun. We buy them as range guns, and I think we pay $800 for them now. Back in the day, I paid $500 for them. At the range, we've got 150 of them right now, and we go through them. We're just on our second life, I think, right now is what we have, and so we're just going through retooling with those Outlanders, the A300s right now. So for a new shooter, young kid or whatever, and doesn't know whether they're going to be in the sport or not be in the sport 3, 4, 5 years from now, 30 years from now, whatever it is, that A300 is great for a beginner. It's great for a hunting gun. You'll get somewhere, who knows, 10 to 20,000 rounds out of it, and for $1,000, I think that's an easy way to get in the game instead of throwing 20 grand at an over and under. My opinion, you're better off doing the $1,000 and throwing the other 19 at working on your game. My opinion.
Poaching and shells.
Yep, Absolutely.
One of the, I'm sure you've experienced this, but I thought it was really cool when my son Joe was SCTP in the high school clubs and shooting trap and skeet and little sporting clays. It was incredible to watch how these young people can adapt and quickly become very proficient at the shooting sports. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I don't see women are probably number one as far as being able to pick up a shotgun and listen well. They're probably the best listeners. Some kids are too, but I would say women in general are the most fun to watch progress because they do it rapidly and they're really good at it. And a lot of people go, why is that? It's very simple. Okay. Number one, they're fierce. They're fiercer than any man alive, I promise you. And number two, they hate to lose, period. Absolute hate it. Okay. So when you put a shotgun in a woman's hands and it's all her, there's nobody else doing anything. Trust me, she's going to perform, guaranteed. And that's just the way they're made up because they do. They adapt and they perform, period. In all steps of life, guaranteed. Kids too, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got a funny story for you, Tim. There was a great study. It was a joint effort between like Australia and Jordan. It was a medical study talking about compliance with the directions for medical care. And the number one variable for not following directions, what do you think it was? Being a male.
Oh, I guarantee you that for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's self-evident, but it's interesting to see it in data that's been scientifically put together,
Yeah, I mean, when I open up something, and it's got that thing that's in there, and I always thought it said destructions, right? I didn't think it said instructions. So anyway, it's like stopping and asking for directions. Do you do that, Jeff?
No. In fact, when I teach workshops, and we are in groups of 3, you always have to have a female with the guy, so somebody reads the directions, to your point. No, I'm with you. And I don't think that's sexist or anything. I mean, that's just rip it on guys, and we can do that because we're guys.
Well, yeah. Well, I will tell you that so I'm a yellow iron guy. I have lots of it. And I will tell you, I read every owner's manual that comes out.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because here's the thing. You can watch all the YouTube videos you want. You can get instruction from somebody, but the guy that wrote the manual knows anything and everything about that machine and what it can do. And I will tell you, to this day, even the oldest operators out there have no idea what that machine can do A to Z.
Wow.
Guaranteed. All right. And that's what makes you a good operator, is understanding that this machine can do X and you would never think it. Guaranteed.
Oh, that's so interesting. So Tim, as a coach and an instructor, what's the best way to get through to a student, for example, that's struggling, trying to grasp the concepts you're teaching?
I would say the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you keep it to one aspect of whatever you're trying to teach, and keep it simple. Don't overspeak, and be demanding in the aspect of performance, if you will. And we'll have that guy that will say, oh, I can't do that. And well, it's not true. If you use your eyes correctly, okay, and use your pre-planning correctly, right, you'll do what you think. And if you tell me you can't, you won't be able to. All right. And just like we spoke earlier, you are what you think, you are what you say. Okay. The caveat to that is good or bad. Right. So you have to always be positive no matter what. All right. And so if you're a student, you need to be a good student, right? It's not always on the coach. It's you have to come ready to learn and submit, if you will, and listen and do your best to perform whatever that is. Okay. We see guys all the time that want to literally follow the line of the target with the front of the gun. Not efficient at all, right? And it's bad for a lot of things. And breaking them of that, they have to be intentional, just like you coaching have to be intentional. So I would say keep your speaking to a minimum, right? Start out simple. We'll work on one task. Don't mix them together like a blender. All right, let's perform whatever this one piece of the shot is, and let's perfect it before we move on to the next. And if you keep things in a dynamic of basically checking off the boxes, right? For instance, let's make sure the stance is correct first. Let's make sure the body weight is correct first. Let's make sure that the hands are balanced, the gun is balanced, the front of the gun is below the line. We've picked out our kill spot. We've picked out our hold point. We've picked out our eye acquisition, right? And how do we get there, right? We get there comfortably, right? In the shortest distance we possibly can. So as long as we have all of those things in our thought process, right, we can easily pick that kill spot. We can easily identify where our hold point is going to be. We can relax, and we can visually look deep, right? Because your eyes chase like crap. They catch great. And as long as you look deep and you're not all freaked out, and you typically will do exactly what you think about. If you think you're going to miss, you'll probably miss. Think you're going to hit it, probably hit it.
That's that process thing we talk about. And we're kind of quoting Henry Ford when he said, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
That's it. You are right. That's correct, sir.
I love it.
Yep.
All right, Tim. One of my goals is to keep these as close to half hour as possible, because sometimes we get all chatty and we go for an hour.
Absolutely.
So what I wanted to do, I've got some really fun rapid fire questions for you that I think will be just a lot of fun for the shooting community.
Okay.
What's the favorite shoot you've hosted?
Favorite shoot I've hosted? Probably my next one, but my second favorite, all right, was probably the 2018 US Open. It was just really cool.
I remember that. It was incredible.
Okay.
I like the answer, the next one. I think that's good.
Well, I believe that for sure.
I mean, yeah, and that's just in par with our discussion. Okay, second rapid fire question. What's the hardest target you've ever set, good or bad? What were you thinking?
Hardest in what context?
I was thinking in terms of, like, if there's a squad of shooters, everybody's challenged immensely by that presentation. Maybe you didn't intend it to be that way.
I would say probably a deep quartering target coming in that looked like a big crosser, and took a lot less lead than what they thought. And most everybody that was just, say, Bravo class and up missed it, and the Charlie and Delta guys hit it because they didn't know what they didn't know, right?
Shot right at it
And smoked it. I would say that's probably the hardest target I've ever set. Deep incoming quartering target.
Oh, I like that. Deep outgoing targets aren't easy either, of course. But
no, yeah. But they tend to be more success. The pros tend to be more successful on that. They just do.
Oh, that is so interesting. I like that, Tim.
Yeah.
So if you have an opportunity to go on vacation and there's no shooting involved, not shooting related, where are you and your wife going to go?
Probably to our place in Tennessee, even though they have shooting there.
No, that's okay. I mean, I always ask that question, but sometimes, the alternative is say, well, where would you like to go shoot outside of Coyote Springs? Is that a fair question, or one you'd even want to answer?
Yeah, I would say anywhere I'm at,
There you go.
To shoot, without a doubt. But the first question, we would go to the property in Pine Ridge Farm and just enjoy it. It's a cool change from the desert for sure.
I can't wait to shoot there in May. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it's incredible, dude. Absolutely incredible.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about that facility and the FITASC event you're throwing in May?
Sure, absolutely. So we have a Grand Prix at Pine Ridge Farm at the end of May in Tennessee, and Joey and Melissa Wright run the facility, and it's going to be super cool to shoot. I will tell you that as a target setter and a property owner, it would be as tough a place that I would ever want to reset targets at. And what I mean by that is the elevation changes and the topography just alone by itself, in general, are fine. But 60% of it is pretty extreme for, if you will, the target setter, moving the machines, moving the targets, doing all those things. It's a shotgunner's paradise for the sense of terrain change, tree background. It's amazing. It's an amazing facility. I think anybody that comes will concur, but I'd love to hear their opinions once they come and shoot there.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm heading out there with a couple buddies. We're going to spend a long weekend, and it'll be a lot of fun. This, I don't intend this question to be a long answer, just kind of a gut reaction. Is the punch system the best way we should assess shooters as they move up through the ranks?
I believe it is, and I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority or on the fence in the middle when I say that. I think you should be put in the class that you are competitive in. That's my opinion. And so you'll have people that will refuse downclassing, which is fine. And that's the way the system is set up now. I believe, in my opinion, a mandatory downclass is where the future is for being competitive. Because let's face it, there's going to be people that come into the sport that have never done any athletic thing in their life. Okay, they've been sitting behind a computer or behind a joystick. In my terms, an Xbox or something like that. I'm sure there's another name for it today, but I would say we're going to have those people. So, for instance, in 2010, the NSSF did an evaluation of people who shot shotguns in the lower 48. Okay. And in 2010, that number was 7 million people. Okay. They did the same survey. They spent $1.5 million the first year. They spent almost $2 million the second time they did it was in 2017 and 18. And in 2000, it came out, I believe it came out in late 17, early 18. And 21 million people shot a shotgun one time in the lower 48. Okay.
Wow.
So now you can see where this thing is headed. And so they did the same survey in 2021. Okay. So it's only 3 years later. Now, obviously, they probably are getting better at doing this survey. They're probably touching more aspects of the shotgunning world. And they did this one in conjunction with Olin, if you know what Olin is. Winchester, and I believe the number was somewhere north of $2.5 million in order to do the survey, right? How many people do you think shot a shotgun one time in 2021? Now, keep in mind, that's 5 years ago from where we're talking right now, okay? So what do you think?
So went from 7 to 20.
7 to 21.
And now I'm going to say 30 million.
55 million people
really
shot a shotgun. Think about this. 55 million people shot a shotgun one time. So my point to my answer, okay, is that the people that are coming into this sport, okay, are going to be relatively new in the sense of doing anything athletic, right? Anything whatsoever. And so I truly believe that the punch system is probably where it needs to be, except for the mandatory downclassing. My opinion only, and I'm speaking for 10 miles and 10 miles only. That's my opinion. I like that. Okay.
I like that. A funny story for you. One time I was out shooting with Gavin, and I was struggling to shoot a target, and I just said something like, Gavin, my eyes and body aren't doing what my brain wants it to do. And he said, that's why they have concurrence. I thought that was fabulous. But to that point, I mean, fabulous. Look at how good these shooters are now. I mean, Mike Wilgus won nationals. He's a vet, right?
I think he's 82, right?
Well, but I mean, take a look at all, Wendell Cherry, right. Bill McGuire.
Sorry, Mike, by the way.
That's hilarious. I mean, some of the best shooters are vets right now. So to your point earlier, I think that it's a lifetime sport. I think that you can continue to get better, and it's only up from here because I mean, when 2008, I think there were only like 800 shooters when I shot my first nationals. And I think there were almost 2,500 last year.
Over 2,700.
Or 2,700. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
It's pretty incredible, actually.
Yeah, we'll break 3,000. I think in the next 1 or 2 years for sure. So I think at the end of the day, I do believe that shotgunning is probably one of the fastest growing activities you can do, especially outdoors, right? And you're finding screen time's not great, right? Well, I'm going to tell you, range time is 100%. Right. And so you can take your screen time and you can be range time. You'll absolutely do great benefits to you and your family, guaranteed.
I agree. I just thought of another comment and love your response to it. You know, I heard that there's more high school students shooting trap in high school in Minnesota than there are kids playing football.
I don't know if that's true, but I would not doubt that at all.
It's pretty incredible, though.
I saw a stat. I believe it was one of the Minnesota guys. I used to sell some shells to the Gorels. I think they're near. I'm not sure if they're near Minneapolis or Mankato, but they said that at their state championship, they had 9,000 kids shooting trap.
Unreal. That's so great.
It's awesome. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's truly awesome. Wow. All right, Tim. So here's my thoughts. As we progress with this podcast over the next 6 to 12 months, would you be up for doing like a Tim Miles Unplugged again?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
All right. Sounds good. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sitting down with me to chat Sporting Clays and FITASC. Earlier today, we did the kind of the preview of the Western Regional coming up at the Tucson Trap and Skeet in Coyote Springs. And then this was more just a pick your brain, talk about the sport. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. And look forward to doing it again for sure.
I look forward to it also. And to all of our listeners out there, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating, or even better yet, leave a comment or two. And if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. And I will try to my very best to bring leaders in sporting clays and FITASC to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.